Chinese philosopher Confucius is credited with saying, "Study the past if you would define the future." In many parts of the Andes Mountains, the average daily temperature ranges from 15 to 20 degrees Celsius, or 59 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. These bright and sunny days are filled with the sun's radiation, but nighttime is a different story. Temperatures drastically plunge to slightly above 0 degrees Celsius, or 32 degrees Fahrenheit, or even less. These extreme temperature ranges are not conducive to outdoor agriculture, but ancient cultures had devised several methods to succeed in growing food in these inhospitable and harsh conditions. In the Peruvian Wisdom Project, we are respectfully taking up the torch of the challenges of agriculture in the Andes. Through both hiking and our philanthropic projects, we have become familiar firsthand with high-altitude communities and their daily struggles with anemia and malnutrition. According to the National Institute of Information and Statistics here in Peru, 49 to 52% of children in rural areas between the ages of 6 months and 36 months suffer from anemia and malnutrition. These challenges become even more pronounced in higher elevations. Communities above the tree line find it extremely difficult to farm. They mainly survive off pasturing alpacas and llamas on the sparse, natural vegetation that exists. It takes multiple hectares just to feed a handful of animals. Let's take a look at one of the oldest known methods, the waru-waru. Waru-waru is a native Aymara term for an ingenious agricultural method developed by ancient cultures on both the Peruvian and Bolivian side of Lake Titicaca. This agricultural technique is also referred to as camellones in Spanish, or literally translated as ridges in English, or as I prefer to call them, raised beds. The area around the lake is called the altiplano, or the high plains, and is a high altitude and virtually flat topographical region that extends as far as the eye can see in every direction. This immense basin around Lake Titicaca is higher than Cusco at 3,811 meters, or roughly 12,500 feet above sea level. These waru-waru are dated to before Christ, or before the Common Era, and are usually associated with the Tiwanaku culture, although it is not exactly known who terraformed the earth into these raised beds and shallow ditches. However, what we do know is it's self-evident what role they served and how they functioned. We could talk about the permaculture aspects of the waru-waru, such as fish farming, flood control, nitrogen-producing plants, and algae. However, for our purposes, let's focus on their main function, which is to create a microclimate that allows crops to survive the cold Andean nights. The ingeniousness of the waru-waru is that they capture solar radiation during the day, store it in the water as a solar battery, and slowly release it overnight. It is estimated that over 100,000 hectares have been converted into these waru-waru. This vast area is essential in creating the microclimate that allows plants to survive the night. This offset of temperature has allowed peoples in the Altiplano to survive agriculturally for time immemorial. Now let's take a look at a completely different technique that has been used during Inca and pre-Incan times. These are found an hour and a half away from Cusco at an archaeological site called Moray. Moray has several circular terraces that descend into the ground at a depth of 30 meters or 98 feet, and a diameter of approximately 150 meters or 492 feet. The precision and engineering skills required to construct these terraces are truly remarkable. What's even more remarkable is the circular terraces of Moray are believed to have served as an agricultural laboratory. Each terrace has a slightly different microclimate, with temperature variations of up to 15 degrees Celsius or 59 degrees Fahrenheit between the top and the bottom terrace. This technique takes advantage of the geothermal heat of the earth to allow seeds from different regions to be acclimatized to the altitude and cold of the Andes Mountains. The geothermal greenhouse concept of the Peruvian Wisdom Project is a result of a lifetime of investigation and hard-earned experience. Although it is our own unique design, it has come about through years of collaborating with engineers, agronomists, and clean energy experts both in the United States and Peru. The geothermal tubes are the heart and soul of the project. We're using a GAT system, or ground-to-air heat transfer. The Earth maintains a consistent temperature of approximately 15 degrees Celsius or 59 degrees Fahrenheit below the frost line. Like the Waru and Morai of old, we're taking advantage of the Earth's green energy to passively heat the air within the greenhouse. Once the temperature is under control, it allows farmers to cultivate fruit trees, vegetables, grains, edible mushrooms, fodder for animals, and honeybees as pollinators. This hyper-local food model avoids long supply chains, allowing communities to transition from food scarcity to food sovereignty. The Peruvian Wisdom Project sets communities up for success by supplying acclimatized seed banks, architectural drawings, training, and consultation. These collaborations allow nutrition for both humans and animals, as well as economic development through selling food surplus. We emphasize food preservation through solar dehydrators, fermentation, curing, smoking, pickling, etc. We're also incorporating rainwater harvesting and biogas production in an attempt to combat global warming. In the end, the Peruvian Wisdom Project is tapping into the wisdom of the past and pushing boldly into the future. Confucius was right. Study the past if you would define the future. We are here to define the future by collaborating with high-altitude communities in Peru and Bolivia. How can you get involved? You can make a one-time donation or a monthly recurring partnership. You can also come to Peru to participate in our volunteer program.